Axios is reporting that Trump's January 6 pardons were a last-minute decision. His team was reportedly wrestling with how to handle them. But according to one advisor, Trump said, quote, "F it, release them all." Do you defend what Donald Trump did, releasing these people from prison, pardoning them, commuting their sentences? Yes or no?
I was the last person to leave the Capitol grounds, the floor of the Capitol, last member of Congress on January 6th when all this went down. I was offended as anybody. If they crossed those barriers, they were breaking the law. But you got to realize, too, they are charged under federal law. Many of them never even saw their day in court and were sitting in a jail cell. So the whole thing is
Congressman,
bad news. But you
Congressman,
also,
I asked you a yes or no question. Do you agree with President Trump's decision to pardon these violent people and releasing them from jail?
If they were truly violent, no. But do I know that they were? I don't know that.
What do you mean you don't know that? We're showing the footage on the air right now. Congressman, you were there that day.
Jim Acosta is all of us in this clip. Confused, exhausted, and just kind of done listening to Republicans talk circles around defending Trump's it policy of releasing January 6ers, a.k.a. traitors, a.k.a. insurrectionists, a.k.a. violent seditionists, trying to overthrow a free and fair election in this country. This is hands down the worst thing Trump did in his first term, was ginning up and creating January 6th. And just a few days into term number 2, the worst thing he did is normalize it. And it's almost worse because that was a one-off, and this is beginning a term, sending a message clearly to people that they can take the law into their own hands, that far-right extremist groups can do what they want, and they won't be stopped. They will be pardoned for their crimes, and nobody in Congress on the Republican side of the aisle will do anything to moderate Trump this time. Acosta grilled Rep. Tim Burchett for blindly defending Trump by refusing to denounce the pardons, despite being at the Capitol himself on the day of the attacks.
Just think, you've got 4 years of material at least right now.
I'm not so much worried about material, Congressman, as I am about the president releasing violent offenders.
Instead, Burchett stuck to the usual playbook: deflect to the media, blame them, lean on whataboutism, and shut down the conversation with bickering instead of having any kind of intelligent response.
There are offenders on January 6th who violently beat police officers. There are offenders who are convicted of seditious conspiracy. That is the truth.
This is a political world, Jim, and I don't remember you all on CNN condemning Joe Biden for commuting the sentences of murderers and child molesters, which he did. And you all
Congressman, I'm not asking about that. Congressman, we have talked about Joe Biden's pardons.
You never do, Jim.
Congressman, we did talk about it. We talked about Joe Biden's pardons.
Oh, Jim, you did not. You all read your report from the Democrat National Committee, as you always do.
That is absolutely false.
And look, to his credit, he at least said that, no, you shouldn't be violent towards police officers. He said that whenever, a couple of times in the interview, when pressed aggressively and when phrased in a way that wasn't about any specifics and didn't include Trump in any way. When asked if Trump was okay to do it, if this is all right, they always say, oh, I don't know exactly what the details were.
I don't know if it is or not. I'm not a lawyer, but I'll tell you what isn't right.
You're a congressman. You're a member of Congress.
And you guys didn't cover things that were bad on the other side, which again is the whataboutism that has nothing to do with the point at hand. It's very frustrating. It's impossible to talk to these lawmakers anymore. If their head isn't up Trump's ass, it's buried under a foot of sand. But watch as Acosta asks the question directly on everybody's mind, directly to this man. Why can't you just say what these guys did on Jan 6 is wrong, and it was wrong of Trump to pardon them for it? It's not such a crazy thing to say. It's common sense. It's supposed to be the new era of common sense, according to Trump. Why can't they just say it?
Look, what happened in the last 4 years with police? What happened with all the riots that took place all across the country? Police officers were murdered. Courthouses were burned. Over 22 police cars were burned. Yet no one went to jail for that. Where's your crocodile tears for that? No,
Congressman,
you're not engaging
in a game. You're engaging in a game of whataboutism. People were obviously prosecuted after those riots.
Every day, all you've done is
what we're doing at CNN. We didn't storm the Capitol. These people did, and President Trump let them out of jail. Why not just say, you were wrong, Mr. President? Say it. Why can't you say it?
Jim,
And again, look, it's one thing for a corporate media giant like CNN, who definitely is often biased, to not cover something as much as something else for partisan reasons. But it's a completely different thing when a president lets criminals run free just because they committed a crime in his name. This is the law and order president who used to tweet just law and order in all caps. Stop comparing the two to one another. It's not even close. Rep Burchett knows why he can't say it. It's obvious. He answers to Trump and his base. Period. To stand up and say Trump did anything wrong is a death sentence for his seat, and there are no spines left on the right side of the aisle. This can only end poorly. Without holding their leader accountable, Trump will have free reign to do whatever he wants by exploiting the little-known loophole called "no one will stop him." But Tim Burchett isn't alone. Trump's decision to grant pardons and commutations to January 6 defendants on his first day back in office, including those who engaged in violence against police, some of it horrible violence, prompted awkward, even cringeworthy deflections from other GOP officials, like this one from Rick Scott.
Senator Scott, what do you make of President Trump's pardon? I haven't seen all of it, but clearly,
First off, so many people were unfairly prosecuted.
what about those that assaulted police officers?
I don't believe anybody, if you violate the law, you should be prosecuted.
But what about those who assaulted police officers and then were pardoned by the president?
I haven't seen any. I haven't gone to the detail.
But there are those pardons that exist.
I'll have to read it.
Are you kidding me, man? In the end, Burchett's deflections only highlight the deeper issue, as do Rick Scott's and everyone else's. A refusal to hold anybody accountable, a refusal to hold Trump accountable, a refusal to say a negative word about their dear leader, leaving the growing divide between our parties as wide as ever, and our trust in the word of our public officials worse than ever before. And we literally just got started. What is it, day 3? Jesus Christ. I'm Ben Glebe. You can subscribe to my podcast Last Week on Earth, where I summarize the world each week, and you can follow me on Instagram at Ben Glebe. There's no more fact-checking on there, so I am really having fun with that.